It's Absolutely Auburn, a place where we'll talk about all things Auburn, Maine, because we're in the middle of it all. The City of Auburn's communications team is dedicated to helping you connect with city government and learn everything you need to know about Auburn, our city, our people, our events, and our community. Welcome to Absolutely Auburn.
On today's episode of Absolutely Auburn, we are welcoming Auburn's Police Chief, Jason Moen, and Sergeant Nick Gagnon of Auburn's PACE Unit. We'll tell you more about what the PACE Unit is and how they are out and about in our community. Welcome back to Absolutely Auburn. I'm your host, Jenn Boenig, and today's guest co-host is Liz Allen. Liz is the Director of Communications and Community Engagement for the city. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you, Jen. Glad to be here.
Liz is also my boss, for those of you just keeping score at home. And joining us in the studio today are Auburn's Police Chief, Jason Moen, and Sergeant Nick Gagnon, head of the Auburn Police Department's new proactive Community Enforcement Unit. Welcome.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
So, Chief Moen, can you share a little more about why the department decided to create a proactive Community Enforcement Unit, or PACE, as we kind of call it here in the halls of City Hall? So why did you decide to create this type of unit in the agency, and then how many officers do you have working on this?
So Auburn is a very diverse community, and with that comes a series of diverse issues that we have to deal with. And we wanted to take a more surgical approach in delivering our services to our residents. And for that, it meant being able to do some what we call selective enforcement, where we can get into a neighborhood and really delve into issues around that neighborhood, whether it be drug dealing, reckless driving, traffic issues. And because we had officers assigned to the main drug enforcement unit, they just did drugs. We were lacking in our traffic enforcement area as patrol is swamped with calls, and they don't get as much time to do traffic enforcement as we would like. So by creating a unit that is delivering a tailored approach to issues in the neighborhoods. So the idea of PACE is to come in with a scalpel and take a problem, remove it from the neighborhood, then move on to the next problem. And that could be we have a drug dealer that's set up in a house working on that, or we've got dirt bikes racing through a neighborhood causing all kinds of hate and discontent in the neighborhood. So by creating a unit that can handle those specific types of calls, and it takes some of that stress off of patrol, allows patrol to work on that patrol function and deliver those calls for service. And that service delivery, by having PACE, that allows us to get a little deeper into the neighborhoods and have a more tailored approach to some of those issues. And currently we have a sergeant and an officer assigned to that. And in January, we'll be adding a second officer to that unit as well.
Sergeant Gagnon, how long have you been part of PACE? And can you tell us what a typical workday looks like for you?
Yes. I have been the supervisor for PACE since its inception, which is March, beginning of March. I believe it was March 1st, to be exact. And so I have the privilege of being the first supervisor on a brand new unit here in the agency. So.
And what does a typical day look like for the supervisor of the PACE unit?
Every day is different, and it's fluid. It can change at any time. Typically, we'll go out and we'll start with some morning traffic enforcement in high traffic areas, high crash areas, or areas where we're getting a lot of complaints from citizens. I get tips a lot from community members and other sources, so we follow up on those. We'll make some rounds for disorderly housing if we're getting complaints about housing. We've been known to walk around the downtown neighborhood and just talk to some people at like Court Street Senior Housing and things like that, people that are out sitting on the stoop. We'll just go around and converse with them and see if there's any issues with them. We'll make some rounds in the parks, focusing a lot on Bonnie Park recently because we get a lot of complaints there. Unfortunately, people are afraid to bring their kids down there with all the public drinking and the unhoused situation that's going on down there. So we've done some enforcement action in the parks, again, and just talking to some of the community members. We'll check other areas of concerns around the city, like the chief mentioned, drug houses. We get a lot of tips and complaints about those. And then as the supervisor, I'm pulling double duty with assisting Officer Monteith with some of these investigations, as well as trying to complete the paperwork that supervisors have to complete. So some of my days are filled with paperwork.
So you mentioned Officer Monteith. Can you tell us who that is?
Officer Monteith he's been with us for about a year now, a little over a year. Came to us from North Providence Police Department in Rhode Island. He's actually somebody that I've known going on 20 years now. So, he's a good officer with a good amount of experience, and he works well with the unit. So
Perfect.
Well, it's nice that you guys have that relationship and are able to work together in this capacity. So it sounds a lot too like you're getting out in the community and doing some of that community engagement and community building. So getting to know the folks that are out there.
yes, I actually like to. In the back of my mind, I know it's PACE, proactive community enforcement. The E for me is twofold: enforcement and engagement. So.
That's a great way to put that. So, Chief Moen, how does the PACE unit and the rest of the police department strike that balance between community policing and community enforcement?
Well, the PACE unit strikes a great balance because with community policing, we're looking to form partnerships with our neighborhoods, with our residents, and having PACE getting out there, talking to people, forming those relationships, because we find that our policing efforts are much more successful and effective if we have a relationship. And so a lot of the agency's priority has been building relationships within the community. It was noted in our most recent CALEAR assessment, the assessor noticed that we have a lot of partnerships here in the city between the police department, civic engagement groups, other non-government organizations. And so using those partnerships, leveraging those partnerships with the need for those police services. So Sergeant Gagnon and Officer Monteith, they're going out and developing those relationships, and they're talking to those people. And people are much more likely to be more forthcoming with information with an officer if they know that officer, if they are comfortable with that officer. In yesterday's Sun Journal article talking about Peggy Moran and how Officer Barnes and Officer Robinson have developed a relationship with her. They've built a relationship and kind of keep an eye out for her. And so that right there is a community policing success for the agency. And, as I sent an email to staff yesterday, that article was a proud Chiefs moment for me because our officers are out there, they're compassionate, they're engaged with the community. And it's not just about locking people up or writing tickets. It's about being a guardian for the community. And being that guardian is knowing when to flip that switch between being caring and compassionate and having to take an enforcement action. So that article just highlighted all the good things that we're doing here at the agency.
Yes, it really did.
It really did. Sergeant Gagnon, does your unit work with other agencies or community partners? You've touched on the community a bit, but are there other agencies that are involved, and how do they fit into this approach we're taking?
I formed some pretty good relationships when I was assigned to the Maine Drug Enforcement Agency. Working over there, we worked with different law enforcement agencies around the Tri-County area. So we do work pretty closely with Lewiston Police Department, Maine Drug Enforcement, some of our federal law enforcement partners with some of our investigations that we do. Some of our investigations have needed more manpower, so I'm able to call them, and they'll come assist pretty much any time we need them. We also have worked with code enforcement here in Auburn with some of the areas that they've had some issues with, whether they're trying to get people out of buildings that are condemned or whatnot. If those areas cross with criminal activity, we go out there with code enforcement, A, for their safety, and B, so that we can further our investigations. And we've worked with Public Works, with the encampments around the city, things like that. And recently we've kind of stepped it up with probation and parole, just knowing that they have clients that are on probation that are in need of community service in order to get off probation. They've assisted us with cleaning up Bonnie Park. We're planning on another event to have some of the adult treatment court clients that need some community service. They're going to come assist us with some more park cleanup and things like that. So
That's great. That's true collaboration.
Now, Chief, you kind of touched on this a little bit regarding the article with Peggy, but what does success look like for this unit, and how are you measuring that?
So, again, with the unit just starting up in March, we're still in that first year of inception. So as we come on to the end of the year, we'll be looking at enforcement activities versus complaints. So we'll be looking at those neighborhood issues and how those were remediated. And if we were able to take a specific neighborhood issue, get it remediated, and that's a success for us. And when you look at the drug and addiction that PACE is doing, they've had some substantial cases right out of the gate, and those are always a win for the agency. So we'll also look to, as we bring that second officer on in January, that'll be a traffic enforcement focused position. So we'll be looking at our crash data to see where those high crash areas are and doing some selective enforcement, or what I call surgical enforcement, in those areas, and work to bring those crash numbers down. So when we look at the number of drug arrests that are happening versus the number of traffic crashes and the decline in those will be how we're measuring the success of the unit.
Sergeant Gagnon, here's a chance to brag on your team a bit. Tell us about some of your biggest successes so far. I know it's only been since March, but if the headlines are anything to help, then tell us what are some of the biggest successes so far.
To piggyback off the chief's comments, as far as traffic enforcement, since March 1st until now, comparing it with the same time frame last year, 2023, we've had, as an agency, approximately 300 more stops in the time frame, and out of those stops, traffic citations have more than doubled within that time frame, from 300 and something to 700 and something during that time frame. Not that, like the chief said, not that we're out there, with a goal to write citations, but you got to write those citations sometimes to gain voluntary compliance, to make sure that the roads are safe and people aren't getting hit in crosswalks and these severe accidents on Route 4. So we've been known to write a lot of warnings, and it hasn't come across as far as the voluntary compliance piece. So hopefully with those citations, we'll gain that voluntary compliance, and we won't have to write as many citations because people will just comply with the law, and the roads will be more safe. And not that PACE is solely responsible for doubling those numbers, but I feel like due to the time frame and comparing it to last year, I think that the influence on other officers in the patrol divisions helped as well to get those numbers up and to get that enforcement action taking place. Outside of law enforcement, traffic enforcement, we've had approximately 900 grams of hard drugs seized since March 1st. 350 grams approximately was the deadly fentanyl. So that's a pretty significant amount of drugs since March, as well as 21 plus firearms seized from people that should not have firearms.
Wow.
So,
that's quite an impact already. That's good. Congratulations. For those who like to follow the stats for the police department, each Friday afternoon, your page on Facebook publishes the stats for the week, so the data nerds like me will be impressed by some of those numbers. It's really quite something, and an effort of transparency for the agency as well. Sergeant Gagnon, any challenges you've experienced so far with PACE?
I think just the manpower. I think that come January, when we're able to fill that other position, it's definitely going to help. Yeah. Like I said, we work well with our partners across the bridge and our federal partners. But sometimes investigations need action now, and sometimes it's hard to get those people now rather than something that's planned. So I would say manpower.
That seems to be the echo for a lot of places. It's you need the people to help do the work, right? Now, Chief, your agency has a long legacy of excellence. You're nationally accredited and state accredited, and your team has a lot of community support. But law enforcement as a career has gotten more and more difficult. Talk to us about some of those significant challenges facing your department and other departments across the state, because I know you also serve on a state board, right?
Correct, yes. Right now I'm currently I'm president of the Maine Chiefs Police Association. And on a not only a local level, but a statewide level, is recruitment and retention for police departments across the state. Recruitment has been a struggle for the last few years. There's been a shift in social thinking that created a numerous set of challenges for us. I think that pendulum is starting to swing back the other way, where people aren't looking at us in such a bad light as before. And we're starting to see some good benefits from that pendulum swing, where we're getting more applicants. We're getting good, solid, qualified applicants for positions. We currently have 4 cadets at the police academy right now. They started in August, and they're doing a fantastic job up there. And we've already hired a cadet for the January Academy. So right now we have 2 vacancies here at the agency, but that number can be deceptive because we have 4 officers at the police academy. I've got a 5th officer there for K-9 training, plus an officer, that cadet that's waiting to go in January. We only have 2 vacancies. However, I've got 6 additional vacancies in patrol right now due to staff being at training and whatnot. So those continue to be the challenges. And with retention, we try to create opportunities for career development. We have a pretty good career development and training program where we'll identify certain paths that people want to take and try to dovetail their training needs to that career path. All of our sergeants are completing the what's called the LEADA trilogy. There are 3 different courses offered by the FBI with executive level training, line level supervision and whatnot, and command training. So we're working on all of our sergeants to get that what's called the trilogy. That's some great supervisory training for them. We have an officer that's certified as an accident reconstructionist. We have 3 or 4 officers that are working on their drone pilot training. We have 1 SRO, and when we get back to full staff, the hope will be to add a 2nd SRO to the schools. So we're trying to create opportunities for officers to branch off into different areas of law enforcement, and not just patrol, because when you're on patrol for a while, it can get tiring and you can get burnt out. And it's good to have that opportunity to move around a little bit. And I was fortunate through my career. I had opportunities to move around through the different divisions, and that really helped me in my job today is having experience in all those divisions helps you understand the agency as a whole. And, when we select an accreditation manager, we want them to have a good understanding of the entire agency. Sergeant Chris Bouchard is doing a great job with that right now. So overall, recruitment and retention remains our biggest challenge. And with that comes some funding challenges that we've had and will continue to have as we move forward. But overall, like I said, we're seeing the pendulum swing the other way, and we're getting some good applicants for the agency.
That's great.
Yeah, it is. Chief, I really like this next question. You've been doing this for a little while now. What is the most interesting part of your job?
Boy, that's a great question. And when I saw that, I kind of had to ponder for quite a while. And I don't have a really good answer for it because it is so various. I'll start the day with a checklist, and at the end of the day, I'll look at that checklist. Yeah, didn't make one mark on that checklist because everything will pop up, or you'll have issues pop up that you have to deal with. But for me, it's watching our officers grow and develop. It's probably one of my favorite things. You see them start off as rookie officers, and they move up through the ranks and working on a succession plan for the agency. And right now we're working on developing a strategic plan for the next 5 years for the agency, and with that comes some succession planning. And I tell staff, decisions I make about personnel, I'm making these decisions 5-10 years down the road. Because I see certain people on certain paths. We want to make sure that they get the training and what they need to be able to succeed and help contribute to the future of the agency. So for me, probably my most rewarding thing is that interaction with staff, watch them develop and get in them what I call T, and that's training, education, equipment. So I tell officers, I will get you the best training, education, equipment for your able to do your job, and just come in and give me 110%. And they do that every day. And it's articles like the Sun Journal yesterday that really show the success of the agency. And it's not just about numbers. It's not about the number of traffic citations we write. It's not about the numbers of arrests we make. It's about making a positive difference in the community. And examples like yesterday, those are those positive examples that we're making.
Yeah, you have an exceptional team.
How about you, Sergeant? What's the most interesting part of your day or job?
Police work in general, the most interesting part is probably the ever-changing, the amount of things that you get to do in the job and the people you get to deal with. Pace specifically, it's the same thing, but all the different aspects of policing that I get to do. I still get to do patrol work when I'm doing traffic enforcement. I'm still getting to do the narcotics investigations that I've done throughout my career. And I get to engage with the community members at every level throughout the community, and that keeps my job interesting. So.
We seem to hear from most people there's no typical day, and what makes things interesting is, I think, that variation. That's what seems to be the running theme with lots of folks here. So if you want variation, explore opportunities here at City Hall.
AuburnMaine.gov.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we're going to ask you both a question. We ask all of our guests here on Absolutely Auburn. What is your favorite thing about Auburn? It doesn't have to be work-related. Chief, you go first.
Well, I think for me, it's the diversity of Auburn. And Auburn is a fun city to work in because we have such a diverse landscape. I've been here 29 years, and in that 29 years, Auburn has changed immensely. And when you look at Auburn as the 9th largest municipal landmass east of the Mississippi, we have 67 square miles. And in that 67 square miles, you have an urban setting downtown. You have a rural setting in the outer parts, in the farmlands of South Auburn, around the lake in North Auburn. So with that diversity comes a diversity in your delivery of service, because you could be dealing with a domestic downtown, and next thing you know, you're out chasing cows down the middle of the road in South Auburn. So it's that diversity that makes it a lot of fun to work here. And looking at the path that Auburn is on, and if you look at Auburn now versus even 10 years ago, and the change that has gone on within the city landscape when it comes to our retail area, our industrial area, our residential area. If you look at all the residential housing coming in, that will create service demands that we'll be trying to budget for the future. But it's exciting because Auburn is ever changing, and it challenges us to really make sure that we're tailoring our delivery of law enforcement services based upon that landscape, where our delivery of services in the downtown urban area might be a little different than that rural area on the outskirts. So the officers enjoy that diversity and being able to tailor their response based on the landscape.
Sergeant, you're next.
The chief stole my word, diversity. Yeah. But I can attack this at a little different angle here. Away from work, the diversity of the city, being a resident here or a visitor. You can shop at big box stores in the morning, and you can go apple picking in the afternoon. You can go boating, fishing. There's so much to do in Auburn. Like you said, there's the outskirts of Auburn, and then there's the downtown area. So I always get excited when there's new development in the city. I've lived here a long time, so I get excited when developments come in, whether it's another big box store coming in or a craft brewery. Always excites me. So I think as far as my favorite thing of Auburn, it would be the diversity of things you get to do, as well as the diversity of the people that are here, the different cultures you get to deal with, and the different people you get to meet and talk to.
These connections are important.
How about you, Liz? I realized it dawned on me that I should ask the guest co-host this too.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. You haven't done it with the other guests.
You get to be the first. So what's your favorite thing about Auburn?
Boy, I'll tell you, I was not born and raised here, but for 16 years now, I've called this my home. For me, I think it's the community pride. I have a unique perspective in the community engagement part of my job that I get to do every day here. And the people who live here, work here, visit here, are so proud to be from Auburn. They are hardworking, loving, wonderful people, and they show that to city staff and to each other, and I just love that feeling of pride of place. It's a beautiful city. I'm very proud to live here, so for me it's that community pride.
See, I knew you could answer the question. She was sweating it earlier. She really was. So community policing works best when the community gets involved, hopefully in a positive way. And when APD holds various community events throughout the year, first one that comes to my mind is National Night Out, because I think that was kind of the last major event. But there's also neighborhood watch meetings. There's other events that happen throughout the year. So if you want to stay up to date on that, the best way to do that is to follow APD on social media. They are most active there and on the city's website. There is also a Citizens Police Academy when it can be offered. I know sometimes staffing is a challenge for that. Is that correct, Chief?
Yeah, typically we do those in the spring, and we'll be gearing up to offer another CPA this spring.
Excellent. So stay tuned on social media for that. You can find out more information there when that program's going to launch again. And I think we have a great police department. I get to work with the officers at our events, and we always seem to have a good time, and they do a great job. You all do a great job keeping us safe, so we appreciate that.
I appreciate that. And the events are fun for us, too, because if you look at like the New Year's event that we do every year, that's a lot of fun. When you have the Blues Festival and whatnot, it gives us an opportunity to get out and talk to people and watch them have a good time. And it works great for us, and, it lets us, it feels good for us to keep them secure while they're having a good time in the downtown. Auburn has taken such a good stance on community events, and we're drawing people to the area. When you look at Auburn is more of a service center for the Tri-County area. When you look at the diversity of the city between retail, industrial, residential, all of the employment opportunity here in the city. So we're drawing in folks from the 3 counties around the area. And when you look at, our overall population is about 26,000, but we've seen estimates where that population will rise up to 150,000 during the day because people are coming here to work, play, eat, shop, and whatnot. So we are probably one of the crown jewels of Central Maine, and that continues to show on a regular basis. And people are drawn to it, and that shows every day in our retail districts. A lot of shopping getting done. A lot of people. We've got some great restaurants throughout the city. And people are enjoying it.
That makes my heart happy to hear you say that. It does. Especially since Liz and I put a lot of work in these community events, so it's nice to hear that. Thank you.
It's important to note that the Auburn PD also has an anonymous tip line that folks can call anytime. It's anonymous. If you have something to share with us, whether it's photos we've posted on the Facebook page or anything else you want to report to the PACE unit specifically or any of our officers, you can call 333-6653 and leave us a message. As always, if you're experiencing any kind of emergency, be sure you call 911.
Can't forget to add that.
Can't forget that.
Right.
No. Well, thank you, Chief Moen, Sergeant Gagnon, for joining us, and Liz, thanks for coming on and joining the podcast.
This was painless.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us on Absolutely Auburn. You can find all things Auburn, Maine at auburnmaine.gov and goauburn.me. You can also listen to us anytime, anywhere you get your podcasts, including Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio, just to name a few. The City of Auburn's communications team wants to remind you that Absolutely Auburn is the only official podcast for the City of Auburn, Maine.